Hi guys, quick update here for YouTube. It's 26th of January 2024. Hope everyone's doing great. So we'll start off with the S&P and then we'll move over to other linked assets. So S&P, we're still looking at this to be a large breakout sort of cup and handle formation here. This still gets us to around 5,400 by the middle of summer, maybe Easter, summertime, and then we're looking at a correction. Okay, so as we mentioned on the 2024 video, the sort of roadmap, we're looking at this year to be split into two. So net, we could end up the year around 5,100, 5,000. I think the second half of this year is going to be pretty volatile. First half is pretty much going to be okay. All right, I'm not sure the market tops at the start of Q2, at the end of Q2, I'm not sure exactly, but anywhere between April and June, it very much depends on how fast we move up here. Now, short term, you can see the market's just too bullish, and this can be read as just a wave 2, in which case all of that is the A, that's the B, and now we're kicking off the big FOMO rally, AI-led, semiconductor-led, all the way into, as we said, 5,600. If not, then this is the 5 is in here and the A is in here, and we're now going to kick off a large rally. So either way, this market needs to go higher. Hedge funds are very, very short. A lot of people have missed this move. Retail traders are fairly long, actually, so they are actually making money. But we're going to get a bit of a crescendo kind of peak here, like I said, between April and June. So very, very similar to how we ended up here, when everyone just FOMOs in, and then we're going to be due quite a significant correction, which, like I said, second half of this year, I'm expecting to be pretty volatile. So short-term correction aside, the market still has legs to go higher. We are making new high after new high every single day here. So it's very hard to look at that and then call it, bearish, right? So it is a breakout. We have broken above all-time new highs. It's a blue sky breakout here. So, that just means price discovery is taking place. And like we said on the video, WX, now this is going to break down into an ABC, it's kind of an ABCY position there, yeah? So an ABC 535 to form the Y off the larger C, yeah? And we share exact targets and charts on the group. Now, we've been long this for a very long time. Nvidia's doing nothing to prove to me anything other than it is indeed going to become the world's most valuable company, right? So this can easily get up to 1,200, which is the eventual target. Obviously, you're going to get pullbacks here and there, but there's no evidence that there's a top that's in place, a significant, when this tops, it'll be a multi-decade top like Tesla formed a few years ago. So, there's no evidence of this. Should this happen, obviously that changes things. Right now, this is looking very impulsive. There's obviously a lot of FOMO. We've been long since 400 effectively, since this pattern we discussed on the masterclass, and now it's kind of rallying up here. We got in just before the breakout, and now we're up comfortably. So anyone who's bought into this consolidation, it's highly unlikely it's going to go in now. Now, everyone's now finally talking about a Cisco bubble melt up. We've been talking about that for weeks now, if not months, right? So 6 months ago, I postulated the idea this was going to go higher. It just needed to consolidate a little bit more, but that's not the top. You can't call the 5 in. So, and we've explained what the long-term count is here. So I see Nvidia doing nothing to prove to me anything other than it's going to go higher. We're looking for the headline. Nvidia becomes the world's most valuable company, just like Cisco 99, and that will signify the top. Obviously, we're at 600, so I'm saying basically it's going to double at least from here. It's not going to be a straight line. We've just said on the SPY update, the second half of this year is going to be bad, and then 2025 we're going to kick off this leg. So this market, this S&P that is, let me just go on the S&P. There's no evidence of a major crash here before the end of this year, before the US election. There's just no evidence of that. Even 2025, fine, we're still not guaranteed we're going to get a crash. And even if you do, it'll be second half of 25. Everything's leading up to 2026, which is what we said about 7 years ago when it was here. So there's still room to go here. There's a wealth effect going on due to higher interest rates, which benefits those with assets. And most amount of assets that are, so 80, 60, 70% is the baby boomer generation. Most of their wealth is tied up here. As well as that, it's in real estate. So there's no evidence of a real estate top or a stock market top just yet. obviously 18 months down the line, it's a completely different story altogether. So I think Nvidia eventually, one way or another, is going to get up there, and that is the headline that we're looking for, because we know Cisco 8x'd 8 times, 800% move back in 99 and 2000. So, short term, we're not really interested. We're very comfortably long. Obviously, we're shaving off, as you would do if you're holding more leveraged swing positions. It's just pulling back. Now, AMD, so this could easily go to 1200, if not a lot higher. AMD, I mean, we do have a FOMO count, which gets us all the way up to 1000 here. Is it likely that Nvidia and the S&P go higher and AMD does this? Highly, highly unlikely. AMD is all about the earnings on Tuesday, as in 3 trading days. These are very, very big earnings. And in fact, they're as big as Nvidia's earnings from about 4 or 5 quarters ago, when Nvidia had the big blowout quarter down here. I believe it was this one here. I believe it was this one here. And if it wasn't this one, it was definitely this one. So we think AMD is just Nvidia minus a couple of years. And I've made this point before. Many would argue it's harder for Nvidia to maintain higher expectations and maintain this market cap and maintain, this kind of sales growth than it is for AMD to surprise to the upside. So everyone talks about the Magnificent Seven and the FANG stocks, and they're talking about Nvidia all day long. AMD doesn't really get a mention. The point I'm making is, you could argue AMD actually might have the larger percentage move from current price levels, okay? Obviously, Nvidia is moving rapid here, right? We were in at 400. So 50% in like 2 months. That's a huge move, market cap-wise, right? So, AMD, it's all about Tuesday. If we get an Nvidia 2023 type of earnings here, bear in mind that they've recently taken over Xilinx, and they've got this, I believe it's the H100. I'm not a fundamental expert, but obviously they have a big chip that's rivaling Nvidia. Many would argue it's AMD's time to take part of Nvidia's share. But when expectations are so high as they are with Nvidia has to do a heck of a lot fundamentally, quote unquote, to maintain that kind of market cap. But AMD, 1600 price over earnings, no one's really expecting a lot here. So it's all about Tuesday. So let's wait and see on Tuesday. I refuse to believe this is a top on AMD right now. This can go a lot higher. We have interim targets the whole way up, which we share on the group, which is useful if you're swing trading, and then the counts are more longer term swing plays, and then going into longer term investing there. So that's AMD. And obviously we're looking at other stocks like the oil stocks. We're looking at the Chinese sector. I don't want to share that right here. So if you want to get in on these trades, you have to be early in a market like this. 1 or 2 days late to the moves, and then you just miss the entire move. So we can't share too much of that here. Now, Bitcoin, let's have a look here. So we're not really interested in Bitcoin. It's to me, that's a nice little bounce. To be fair, it's not bad. I think it's topped. That could be the yearly top in, as I've mentioned many times to my YouTube, to my group, right? So, that could be the yearly top in. Why can that not be the yearly top in? We have to look at these charts properly, right? It's no good just saying, someone who wanted to join the Facebook group, I actually stopped him from joining. I said, look, you're better off taking the masterclass. And the reason I knew the group was not for him, and I'm not calling him out here, by the way. I said, how high is Bitcoin going? Immediately he said 80k. Then I said, are you sure? He said, okay, fine, 100k. Where's the justification to say random numbers? I don't think that's allowed here if you're here to make money. So the masterclass is going to be there. And even with the Facebook group, I got so annoyed by the comment, I'm actually going to make the options and the futures modules as part of the group. I'm just in the process of doing that. It might take some time to get there, but you will have access to the options modules and the futures modules by joining the Facebook group. Every week, another module will get released. Either I'll give you full access to those modules, or I'll add them to the masterclass, to the Facebook group one at a time, because the videos are not just shared on Facebook anymore, they're shared on Teachables. But I got very annoyed by the comment. I was like, well, we can't just say random numbers for the sake of saying random numbers. Why should Bitcoin go to 80,000 this year? Why can this not be the top for the year? I'm not saying it is, but it could easily be the top for the entire year, right? Look at Coinbase. That's a leading indicator. So anyway, we've gone into this many times. So that's obviously the W and then X, Y. So now, we've got this court case sentencing hearing in March for Sam Bankman fraud. We've got the halving. Pre-halving, there's always a bit of a dump. Second half of this year is going to be quite bad for the S&P, I think. So, what can Bitcoin really do? Yeah, fine. It can have a little bit of a pullback here. Maybe retest some of this action up here, some of the yearly open, maybe 443, does a little S-curve. Next thing you know, it's down here again. So, to me, wholesale prices are down here, and it's just about how low does this X-wave go? Obviously, we don't know exactly right now how low it's going to go. And bear in mind, as we've said before, there is still a very justifiable count to get this. But that, because I deem Bitcoin as a liquidity market overall, that contradicts my opinion on the S&P going 6,500 eventually and Nvidia 1,200. It would be odd for Bitcoin to completely dump from here. So I'm not calling that, but it's some kind of X-wave. But we don't know how low is this going to go. Is it going to be an expanded flat? Yeah. So all the way down to 14k, 2025, huge move to 69k, right? I don't think that's going to happen. Is it going to be more of a regular flat, double bottom, 15k, double top, 50k, right? So we don't know how, this is the whole point, right? All we know is it's bound to retrace at least 50% and go into an area of where there's been a lot of value getting created, i.e. between 24 to 32,000, let's call it 30k, makes a good round number. Okay, so Bitcoin might go to 80k eventually. I don't see that happening, by the way, but to me it needs to pull back into this area, and only then can we start working out the pivot. Okay, so for right now it's irrelevant how low this X is and how high this Y is going to be. It's a sell, and it's been a sell for 6 weeks. There's nothing going on. Nvidia has outperformed Bitcoin by over, 50-60% just in the last 6 weeks, okay? Maybe even more than that, because Bitcoin effectively has gone sideways the last 2 months here. So that's the thing with Bitcoin. We will reassess pre-halving. Obviously, then you might get a fake little pump, and then we'll have to wait and see, right? Is that the X-wave in, or is that just another correction? And then obviously we're gonna have to go from there. Is it like this? We'll have to reassess. Right now, because of the risk as to how low this X-wave goes, and the risk that the yearly top might be in, just like down here, the yearly low was in, right? Yeah, when it broke out in January. It's the exact opposite, because we're deeming this as not a real impulse. Okay? So rather than people having a go and commenting and saying that's not possible, it is possible actually, because I've been doing this for a very long time and I've called Bitcoin near perfectly the last 7 years, right? So, we have to understand cycles and what the larger macro climate is doing, i.e. the S&P, right? And we have a very specific AI, SMH, cyber stock bubble over there going on, but nothing's going on over here, because this bubble was over when Tesla topped back in 2021. That's why Tesla's doing really bad. Where do you think all the money's going? When you see something going down, the immediate thought should be, well, if that's going down, something else is going up. And that's Nvidia and possibly AMD, as you will see on Tuesday. So that's the thing with Bitcoin there. I'm not really too sure there's much to really add. So we're looking for 30k, and then we're going to reassess the situation. But the yearly top might be in. And here, I said that's a 5 million year top, and the comment I received was, I'll have a side bet with you. In the next couple of years, it'll take it out. Well, I don't think so. So I don't think I'll be going for that. So sorry. Once again, that's probably the WX, and then worst case scenario, it's going to go to 500. If not, we'll have to see, right? So this is a little bit more harder to decipher, because you could easily read that as the X. The reason is time equality, right? It's the time taken in this and this. This has actually gone now long enough. It's a 1.5 year X wave. Cause is proportional to effect. So once again, worst case scenario, you're going to get one of these. Whilst that does contradict my Nvidia count, there's nothing to say that Bitcoin has to track Nvidia or has to track the S&P. That's just something that we think, that Bitcoin's a liquidity market. So, there's no evidence of Ethereum making a new high in the next 10 million years. There's no evidence of that at all. I don't think anyone can really say in the next couple of years it'll make that's a 10 million year top. So you're going to have to be waiting a lot longer than that. Anyone who's a wise investor has offloaded everything here. We bought this exact low on Coinbase. We said 2.5K 1.5 years ago. So that's what we like to do in the group, right? We don't mess around here drawing fancy patterns. We just get on with it. When's the bottom? Boom. Time to go in. When's the top? That's it. Time to get out. Obviously, it's had a few corrections along the way. We call the Coinbase low and top, and now it's going to go to sub 100. So worst case scenario, frankly, you could argue Ethereum looks even worse than Bitcoin, really. So either way, I will reassess at Bitcoin 30K. This could easily be sub 2,000 pretty soon, maybe 1,500 here pretty soon, and then we'll have to reassess, okay? But there is technically a very bearish count on Bitcoin, which obviously creates a fantastic opportunity if it does this. And the reason that can happen, I don't think it will happen, but it can happen, is because this X wave has technically gone on long enough, okay? If it was just 6 months long, it doesn't have the right look, okay? We're looking for equality in terms of time, or for it to have the right look. Yeah, I mean, you could also read that as a 5 down ABC, by the way, but let's just say that that's worst case scenario. Best case scenario, it's going to come down, then 2025 or into the US election, S&P bottoms, ready for that last 2025 move, and then some point 25, late 25, everything tops. S&P, Nvidia, AMD, everything. We get all the headlines, get all the Cisco 99 headlines, right? That's it. Best stock market in the world. And then, it's time to call it a day there. So, but Bitcoin, I don't think offers any value here at 39,000. We're not really covering it. So if you only want to cover crypto, there's not really much to do. Now, when Bitcoin has a really good dump to 30, 32, 33K, then it's a different story, actually. Then actually there'll be plenty of opportunities, albeit possibly only short term. Regardless, there'll be plenty of opportunities. But I don't see anything for Bitcoin here. Let me just pull it up on Coinbase. Short term. Yeah, I mean, it's a good effort. The problem is that is a hell of a lot of price that it needs to get through. It has to get through this pivot level at best. I mean, frankly, it's probably a short here anywhere into these kind of regions, right? If it retraces to the 5061.8, which I'm guessing is around here, frankly, that offers a short. I don't think there's any evidence to suggest an imminent move up to here. I just don't think so. That could easily be the yearly top in, as I've just said about 5-6 times. People don't listen, and that's up to them, really. So, and that should go sub 100, yeah. So we're looking for this to go sub 100. So at 126, so another 30% of that creates a good buying opportunity. Obviously, we bought the low and we sold the top, so that was a great swing trade there. And we call multiple swing trades along the way. This has been a short. I mean, puts have been printing it for over 6 weeks. That well overshot its target, by the way. That overshot by $10-15. So I knew it was very overvalued there, because the target was actually 170 that hadn't it, and it hit as high as 195. So when you overshoot the target, it creates an even better opportunity to short. But I don't see Coinbase doing anything. I mean, I've got an alert here, as you can see, at 94. Really, I mean, it should be at 100, really. So we can probably just, in fact, let me just put it just above 100. Yeah, that'll do. So, Coinbase has to break 100 here. It's such a good leading indicator. I'm not saying Coinbase will make its way all the way down to here. They're making a lot of money through their Circle partnership, and the rising interest rates are creating a lot of cash flow, and we get that, and a lot of revenue. That's where most of their money's coming from, because no one really uses Coinbase anymore. It's a bit of an old exchange here. I'm not saying it's going to go 37, but I think there's a good buying opportunity to at least short some vertical spreads at around 100, and then we can reassess. And I don't think it'll be 100 back up to 200, but some kind of counter leg rally would probably ensue. I just don't think this is it. Besides, I've not really seen the headline Coinbase going to 0, so maybe it's doing an A to 100. bearish news, Coinbase goes to zero, all the usual CNBC stuff, Jim Cramer et al. Get a little pullback here to, let's say, 150. That's a 50% gain there. And then, Bitcoin halving, lots of optimism. And then next thing you know, S&P tops 5,600, and the chaos starts into the US election where RFK will get elected, probably, let's be honest. And then, I'm sure there's a volume node reference down here. I mean, look at that. All the value was built down here. See, I've just hand drawn that. That's basically got you all the way down to the value area low. So let's see how things play out. If Bitcoin has topped for the entire year, as I continue to mention, and I said that first video of the 2024 year to the Facebook group, that could easily be the case. Coinbase, you're looking at 100, 150, X wave or a B wave, yeah, and then you're coming back down again. So it is possible to forecast charts if you're comfortable with it and you're educated, and the masterclass is there for everyone. Like I said, people don't really have a clue about options, so I'm making that free as part of the group. But the rest of the modules, the actual how to read a chart part, that will be separate. So you're gonna have to buy the whole course for that. But I will be at some point. I'm not sure when. Maybe it'll never happen. I'm not sure. But at some point, I'm gonna test it out. So because I think people should really be able to express an opinion if they wanted to with futures and options, but you have to understand how they work. One options contract is 100 shares, very different to the common stock, and so because of that, your entry and exit has to be, even more perfect, right? So I strongly suggest the masterclass. I don't think the group is for everyone. Okay, good. So, and if you want to pay via crypto for any of the products, just message me through the Facebook page. Okay, good. So I think we're going to wrap it up there. So we're just going to wrap it up there. If you want to join the group, everything's there, and we'll catch you guys on the next video.